Welcome to the Indie Author Showcase. I'm Chad Robert Morgan.
I'm not that. I'm Alex. Yo.
My reluctant partner in crime.
Very reluctant. The only reason he's able to convince me to do this today is because I'm sick and so I had to be home.
Yeah, well, that and the fact that you're underage and I'm your father and I can order you to. So,
That is definitely a healthy dynamic. Let's talk about that real quick. Anyways,
yeah, it says the person who's going to abandon me on Vampire Weekend, but we'll get to that.
yeah.
Um, Speaking of which, have we talked to your mother about replacing you for Vampire Weekend since you're trying to bail on me?
Not yet.
Well, we need to talk about that because I don't know. I've never done Vampire Weekend before, so I don't know how busy it's going to be. I
Mhm.
don't know. This is the first year they're doing it, so I don't think they know how busy it's going to be. Um, so I'm, it could be completely dead. It can be like bonkers, insane, crazy. It could be anywhere in between. I know it's going to be in the Burbank Convention Center, which is a fairly small venue. I mean, it's not the smallest venue I've seen, but I mean, it's reason why Monsterpalooza moved to Pasadena. They started in Burbank and they outgrew the convention center. So, Son of Monsterpalooza will be at Burbank. So, anyway, point being, I don't know how big this is going to be, so I don't know how crazy it is, but I think we're going to kind of keep our presence a little on the small side, um, and kind of vet the thing without, we're not going to go all out like we're going to go Monster Palooza. I think we're going to treat it more like we're going to do with WonderCon, for example. We're just going to bring the books. We're going to treat it like a table, as opposed to a full-on booth experience. Um, just to kind of vet the thing a little bit. But anyway, we're kind of getting a little ahead of ourselves here. Before I start talking about conventions and our book of the week, um, something that came to my attention was we're at the end of Black History Month, and we've done nothing for Black History Month. So I thought one thing that we could do to celebrate Black History Month and also keep in theme with the show of supporting indie authors is talk about the Black indie authors that we have discussed on the show so far.
Woo, woo, woo. Sorry, let's go, white boy, go. Sorry.
Um,
You've earned a title of, you know, less less racist than the average white man.
I do try. I don't.
You don't succeed all the time, but you're trying your best. I'd say,
Well, it's like the song goes, everyone's a little bit racist.
um, um,
Everyone's a little bit
I don't think that's something
racist.
you want to
It's
sing. I don't think
true.
that's something you want to sing as a white man who,
It goes down easier when you sing it as a bunch of Muppets. So, granted.
I think
Um,
he's justifying his racism now.
no, there's actually a Broadway show called Avenue Q,
Mm-hmm.
and the basic plot is Sesame Street, but with a dose of real life.
Wait, hold on. You sing that as a white guy. It's not a good look for you, buddy. It's
It never is. That's all
no,
right.
not at all. It's a really bad look for you, actually. Second off,
Is any look I have good?
no, they're
Then
terrible.
I don't
They're
have
all
anything to
so
lose.
bad.
Then I don't have anything to lose. Um,
Anyways.
but that's one of my two favorite songs on Avenue Q. That and The Internet is for Porn. So anyway,
Why do I do this with you, dog?
Avenue Q is funny as hell, man. I actually somebody had a bootleg of it on YouTube, and I
What?
finally got to watch the
Why
whole
do I
thing.
do this with you? Why do I choose?
And you
I don't
don't.
even choose. I
I was
don't
gonna
want
say
to
you
do
don't
this.
choose. I force you to.
He's not even joking about this one either. This one's just a serious fact.
Well, I have been shopping around for a replacement. So when we started the podcast, I asked you if you thought it was a good idea, and you said it was a good idea. And I said, this is a commitment, right? We're not going to do like 3 podcasts, tell everybody we have a podcast, and then go, nope, this isn't working, and kill it, right? You either do this or you don't. Consistency is important. Um, and after about 3 or 4 podcasts, you're like, oh, no, don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, well, too bad you made a commitment.
Well, here's the story of why. I said yes because I felt bad at first. Because I felt like if you did a podcast by yourself, that'd just be kind of sad.
You could have just said I don't want to do it in the beginning of the whole thing, but
Well, yes, but then you would have gotten like all pissy and stuff, like you
yes,
usually do.
well, because I do.
Yes, then you start like complaining, and that's
Because oh, dopey me, I expect support from my family.
yeah. And then what is it?
See, I don't succeed because of my family. Succeed in spite of them. So,
Anyways, um,
Black indie authors. Anyway,
yeah, I don't. I'm forced to do this. Please get me out of this.
yes. Well, any viewers or indie authors that would like to, uh, sit in for my son either on a temporary or permanent basis, please let me know. Because I know I figured even if you did want to do it, which I know you are getting more and more reluctant to do this kind of thing, because you're 17 and what you want to do right now is go do smoochy face with your girlfriend.
Yeah, pretty much.
Um, to be honest, I don't blame you. When I was 17, that's all I wanted to do was go smoochy face. Um, so yeah, I've been there. But if anybody wants to guest host and take your spot, or even come and be a new permanent host and let you off the hook. But I figure, even if you did want to do this, you got about a year and a half before you go off to college. So I figure my time with you is limited regardless.
I wish that time limit was a bit shorter.
And I so feel the love. Sincerely. I'm touched.
God, can a year and a half go by any faster?
No, but apparently this podcast can go on for infinity.
Oh,
Well, you're the one that's dragging it out.
go.
Getting back on topic. Now that you made me feel like the worst dad in the world.
Hmm.
Anyway, back on topic. Black History Month. Let's talk about Black indie authors. Now there's two that we've actually reviewed so far. Right now we've been doing the podcast for not even a year yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because we started after WonderCon last year. And WonderCon is going to be in May, so we were already like halfway through the year when we decided to try this. Um, since then, we've actually had a fairly diverse, I think, of of indie authors we've done. We had the ladies that do the Mask of Halaya comic book series, which is a comic book company that is solely uh, written and drawn and published by Filipino women. We've done several female authors, um, and um, the the guys over at Diabolic, um, you know, uh, I believe one of them was Hispanic, I believe. Um, and uh, we have reviewed the works of two incredibly talented Black women. So the first one I want to talk about is Casey Cordell,
Mm-hmm.
and she did the So You Survived the End of the World series. Uh, we actually disagreed on this one because you didn't think they were all that great. I thought they were fantastic. Um, because we had a split decision, and also because they weren't really a book so much as a series of novellas, because they're really, really short. We gave her an honorable mention for Book of the Year, right? Um, her series, So You Survived the End of the World, is a very tongue-in-cheek young adult post-apocalyptic series, where basically this young guy and his cohort drive around in a big giant RV, and they run a radio show in this post-apocalyptic wasteland. Um, I thought the series was fantastic. I thought it was very humorous. I thought that because if you go through the books, they actually start growing in length. She's getting more and more confident as she keeps writing these books. Um, Tell me your thoughts on it, because I know you didn't jive with it quite as well.
I still thought it was good. Don't get me wrong. I just didn't think it was as good as you thought it was. Yeah, no, I just thought it was good. Quick, almost fun read. You know what I mean? It's not like you're losing out on time. It's not like it's not an unenjoyable experience. It's a good book. I liked them. It's just kind of like one of those things. It's like I thought it was good. Just didn't think it's. You gave it like a 9 out of 10. I gave it like a 7 out of 10. You know what I mean? I still thought they were good, but I just But no, I think even if you're just kind of around, buy it, read it. You're not losing time. You're not losing much money. It's just
Especially for younger readers, because it's kind of a PG-13 kind
yeah.
of vibe to the thing. I thought the third book was um, I'm not 100% sure if I agree it worked, but I gave her kudos for trying something brave. The third book is told in a non-chronological order, um, which at first kind of threw me, but after I got a few chapters into it, I started getting into the groove and started figuring out what she was doing. And the whole being out of order sort of became kind of a running gag, where it's like, because basically at the beginning of every chapter, she's basically telling you where in the timeline you're at. It's like, oh, so before the singing contest, but after the dude kissed the girl, and somewhere between when the aliens came down and did the disco or something like that, that kind of, and it just, and you're just like, what the hell, you know. And as you go through the book, it makes more and more sense. But it just, every chapter kind of had that kind of weird tongue-in-cheek uh, you know, we're in between this weird thing that happened in the book and this weird thing that happened in the book. Um, so again, I'm not 100% like, I mean, I dug it, but at first I was like, I don't know, but I really got into it by the end. If nothing else, kudos for trying something brave and trying something different. Um, I know, like with my current book, Fear. Um, I'm still, even though I'm working on the final draft, I'm still working on trying to juggle a series of events that are basically happening to multiple people around the same time and trying to maintain that continuity and have it make sense. Um, and that's in a linear story. Jumping around like she did with a nonlinear was just, it had to have been a challenge. And, kudos for doing something brave. So, and I am so looking forward to seeing her in some of these conventions that we have coming up. We'll talk about that in a moment, and because hopefully she'll have book 4 by then.
Hopefully.
The other author we talked to is Dicey Grenor. Uh, she has written several books. We have not even scratched the surface of what she's written. But the one that we did read was the first in her Narcoleptic Vampire series.
Mhm.
This too was a little bit of a split decision between us
For completely different reasons.
for completely different reasons.
Yeah. That's because this one had a lot of sex.
Yes,
Lots of
and
sex.
I know that's not your forte.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
we do have a rule: no erotica. No straight out porn. And this one was not straight out porn because it had a plot. There was other things happening besides people having sex. Um, but this was heavy on the sex.
Yeah, heavy sex here, guys. Lots of sex.
And I know, and we've talked about that at length on various episodes. I know that's not your thing, but um, the mature content aside, you thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I skipped the sex. You
You
know what I
never
mean?
skipped the sex.
Keep going for a minute. I'm going to take a breathe. I'm gonna get a drink to wash out the amount of can't say that word because you won't let me that I have to. Sorry. Oh, I'm not.
So what I find interesting about Dicey, um, is more than just her work as an indie author. She's also very active in the horror community.
Yeah.
Um, from what I understand through her podcast, because she co-hosts the Sex and Horror podcast with her friend Chantel Renee, which, by the way, we did interview Dicey on this show, and they interviewed me on theirs, which was a great experience. I hope I get to do that again because that was fun. And in fact, at some point, we should check out some of Chantel's work as well. Um, that should be on our to-do list. But get back on topic. Um, not only is she doing all that, but her day job is she's a lawyer.
Hmm.
So just impressive resume all the way around, right? And she's a mother because she's got kids about your age.
Hmm.
So, because sometimes I chat with her on Facebook, and sometimes like you got kids your age, you dealing with this shit. I don't know. Just very pleasant person, very positive, very sex positive, very open. I think some of the funnier parts about talking with her, though, and talking with her and Chantel when I was doing the podcast, is that they're from Texas,
Hmm.
right? And we're from California. And like one of the things is like they're asking me is like, what does it feel like to be like in ground zero of being in the woke battles and everything like that? Because you know California is so woke and everything like that. And it's just like, um, and I told her, I said, it, we're just living our lives here, right? To us, it's not a big deal. It's just if you see somebody who's a different religion or a different race or something like that, you just don't be a dick to them. You know, it's that simple, really. I mean, it's like they make this whole big deal out of it on the news and everything. That's really just don't be a dick. That's really all it boils down to. But what's interesting is because we compare notes, people keep thinking that Texas is deep, deep red and California is deep, deep blue. Uh, the truth of the matter is that like your grandfather lives in a very red place in California. I mean, people forget that we gave the country Devin Nunes. We gave the country Kevin McCarthy. We gave the country Ronald Reagan. We gave the country Richard Nixon. Okay, that was here. We had Schwarzenegger as a governor, and we liked him. He actually did a decent job. Like I wasn't going to vote for him, but then he got elected. I'm like, okay, I'll admit he's not doing too bad. He was a decent governor. So yeah, it's like you know, and there are places in Texas. I remember when I was at Dallas, I had a friend of mine drive me to the airport, and we were on the George W. Bush Turnpike or George W. Bush Expressway. She's like, hey, George W. Bush, you know, that kind of thing. You know, I mean, it's there are a lot of congressional districts that have gone blue,
Hmm.
right? There's a lot of you know, places in Texas like Austin and Dallas and such that are very blue areas and I'm surrounded by a sea of red. So um, California and Texas are not that different demographically. The only it's only it's just kind of a balance, right?
Hmm.
Um, we shift towards one, but anyway, getting so off topic.
Yeah.
So getting back to our two authors here, we will be seeing Casey Cordell again. I believe she's going to be at Vampire Weekend.
Wow.
I think she also said that she's going to be at WonderCon.
Hmm.
She will be at LA Festival of Books. Yeah, I said the same thing. I said, yeah, good luck with that. And we did not have a good experience with LA Festival of Books. For the record, the organizers were great. They were wonderful. It has less to do with the organization of the event and more of the people who showed up. Um, we did not have a good experience with the clientele. Um, I don't know why you go to a festival of books if you do not like reading. We got a lot of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was also kind of hard to sell books when, on one hand, we had, I think to our left were people who were giving their books away, and to our right, our immediate right, that was empty, and to the right after that was the Latter-day Saints, which is got to be chasing business away at that point, you know. I mean, it was busy as hell because there would be lines around the corner for people trying to get like Stacey Abrams's book, or Katie Porter's book. But yeah, try to sell something in that thing, and you're hurting. That was our experience. But we will see Casey. Um, she will be at LA Festival of Books. She will be at, I believe she's at WonderCon. I believe she's at Vampire Weekend, and I know we'll see her again at Monsterpalooza because I've chatted with her about that. If you want to see Dicey Grenor, first of all, you can see her every week on Spotify, catching her on the Sex and Horror podcast.
Mhm.
And I have not gone to these events because they're in Texas, but I know that her and Chantel are big fans of Texas AuthorCon, Texas Frightmare Weekend, and several other uh, events that are out there in Texas. I'm trying to get them to come out and visit us here in California. Um, I think that would be a good experience, and I also think that it would be good if they met like our friend Chris, because we have that booth at San Diego Comic Con that is really expensive to maintain, and the more people we can sort of help share that load, the longer we can keep it collectively.
Right.
So I think that would be a good thing. But that's sort of a hard sell for somebody who is pretty much a stranger to you. I mean, we kind of get that part. So, um, but here's hoping we can move forward with that. But I mean, either way, I think I told her, I said, if you ever come out to California, we'll play tour guide. We'll show her, Griffith Park. We'll show her, um, like where the shuttle is, and um, some of the cool places we'd like to go to, uh, La Brea Tar Pits, that kind of thing.
Well, that means that we should probably get into the book review now.
Just like Black History Month, we're going to cut things short. Is that what we're doing? That's right. It is the shortest month of the year. I don't know why we decided to do that.
This guy's gotta be racist. Sorry. Yeah. For today's book, we'll be doing the Immortal Era. It is a series of comics by, drumroll, please, drumroll.
I'm waiting for it to load.
I'm giving you a drumroll. I was giving. By.
Finish Line Comics. Okay, so it's written by Edward Davis, art by Cesar Oliveira. Did I pronounce that right? Probably not.
Probably not.
And colors by
Viviana.
Spinelli.
Viviana.
Viviana Spinelli.
There you go. I'm actually gonna go first to this one. My hot takes. You ready for this? Art was pretty good, I'd say. Not like the best we've seen here, but I'd say it was pretty good.
I will say one of the things I've been reading recently is I got the G.I. Joe omnibus.
Mhm.
I got this because I actually have most of those comics somewhere and they've walked off. I don't know where they are. They gotta be in the house somewhere. But I used to have those comics when I was a kid. And so Image, which now has the rights to G.I. Joe and Transformers, they published like the first, like, I think 5 years or something like that, of all the original Marvel G.I. Joe comics. So I've been reading through that in my spare time. And comparing the art to this comic book to the original 80s, because keep in mind, like I said, that those comics are, God, almost 40 years old.
Wow.
I'm old. Because I was a teenager when I was collecting those things. They're close. They're 35 to 40 years old, somewhere in that neighborhood. Um, Obviously the technology was not where it is today, right? Um, like they used to, you don't see it in comics anymore, but have you ever seen like old comic books where it's like all the different dots and they're kind of overlapping? I forget what that type of um, coloring is called, but they had to do that because they were limited with the number of colors they could actually print with. And so that was a technique that came in to try to um, have shading when they couldn't have the gradients of colors and everything like that. So comparing it to um, those old Marvel comic books, it's like you get a better appreciation just how better comic book art has gotten. And again, this isn't a slam on the artist. It's how the technology has improved. Um, Comics like the Immortal Era, the sharpness of the colors and everything like that is not something that would have happened in the 80s. Um, Story wise, it's an odd mix of sci-fi and horror.
Hmm.
Not even horror really. It's sci-fi and supernatural.
Yeah.
So the basic plot is we have this little bit of a prequel, which is more or less modern age, and then we go to the future, where nobody has died for like 100 years, and why is a bit of a mystery, and that's part of what this first comic is. Now what we've had is the first graphic novel, which is a collection of I think the first is it the first 5 or first 10 issues,
Don't know.
something like that. Um, so again, whenever we're reviewing comics, it's always kind of a challenge because it's a slice of the story, right? It Comics never really have a beginning, middle, of an end. They are like soap operas; they're continuous. They never end, um, unless you're like Walking Dead and you do it for 15 years and the guy finally gives up. Um, but in this first chapter, we see them trying to solve the mystery of why nobody can die, and it turns out that basically somebody killed and dismembered Death.
Yeah.
Um, and so there's still a mystery about why this happened. Um, because there seems to be like some witches that have their thing going. Now they're looking for the pieces. The dude who originally did it is kind of pops up at the end and says, "Haha, I'm here to help," kind of like. And I was like, "Where the hell have you been for 100 years?" So this whole chapter is just the beginning of this longer story. Um, so what did you think of the story in general?
I thought the story was good. There's a lot of unique ideas. I think some of them could have been executed just a little itty bitty bit better. Other than that, I thought it was good. I don't know. I said give it a read. Not like it's gonna hurt you or anything.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It did seem like we couldn't go 5 pages without hitting a flashback.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and again, keep in mind this is the first um, chapter of this larger story. So it does have to do a lot of heavy lifting. But yeah, I agree. Strong story, strong concept, um, strong art. Um, I art could have been art was good, not like best art ever, but good. Story execution again has room for improvement, but still strong, good. I agree. I definitely would give this a read.
Yep. So quick wrap up. Where will we be for the next while?
Well, our calendar is growing.
Quick,
Well,
quick.
I have to because my battery's running dead.
Go quick.
So
Fast as you can.
March 14th, 15th, and 16th is going to be Vampire Weekend in Burbank. The end of March, last weekend of March, we're going to be in Anaheim at WonderCon.
Hmm.
Okay. April, nothing planned. Get April off.
Cool.
Okay. May, we have 3 events scheduled. The first weekend we are going to have Halfway to Halloween Festival. And that'll be out towards Riverside, out in the Inland Empire. Then we will have, it's a 1-day event. It's going to be on a Saturday. It's going to be the Pasadena Comic-Con. Pasadena Comic-Con was supposed to be in January, but what happened in January?
The file.
The fire. So the Comic-Con was postponed until this May.
Mhm.
Okay, it's a 1-day event, and we'll have a small press table there. So I'm excited about that. Then and that's in Pasadena. Then like a week later, we go back to Pasadena for the last weekend of May for Monsterpalooza.
Wow.
Okay. On top of that, we just signed up in September to return to Creep IE Aftermath in Ontario.
Wow.
So we are going to be busy. Oh, speaking of conventions, I forgot to mention one for Casey Cordell.
What?
Guess what she got in?
What?
Midsummer Scream.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the one convention I have yet to get into. Well, I shouldn't say the one. There's a couple of conventions I haven't gotten into, but that would the 3 biggest ones in the area is Monsterpalooza, Creep IE, and Midsummer Scream. I want to get into that one so I can run the trifecta.
Right.
I have applied for Hauntmare Expo, which is in Fresno. That's, I believe, June or July. I've also applied for Creep It Real OC, which will be, I believe, August. I have to double check those dates. I'll definitely have the dates down if I get in. So if you want me to give accurate information, let me join the convention. So there's a couple more we're trying to get into.
And as that's where can you find us? ShopSpectreInc.com. That's where you can buy all books, blankets, book stands, dildos, and shoes.
There's no
I
dildos.
keep on trying.
There's no dildos.
And with that, we must say toodaloo, right? Say it.
Well, if I don't, our battery's going to die, and then we're going to say it anyway.
Yeah, toodaloo.
We've got to find a better sign off.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo. See? Doesn't sound right.
Doesn't sound like a new set.
We need a better sign off.
No, we don't.